All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. I'm your host, Tiberius. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. This is our Tuesday night stream. The Ferengi arc is over and done with. If you have your Dabo tokens, make sure to cash those in before that feature goes away. Get your last spins in. I did mine this morning. Did not get any extra officer shards with my 3 bonus pulls from the event that ended today. But I'll take the resources. I'll take the tritanium. I'll take the crystal. Put that toward whatever building or ship upgrade I'm going to need it for next. But that does expire in 24 hours, so make sure you get that in. We'll talk a little bit about, where the game's going to be for the next week as we transition. This is our off week between story arcs. Of course, the hints and spoilers will slowly start filtering their way out over the next week to try and build up that excitement, that get that hype train going, if you will, before the next arc launches a week from today. Tuesday, April 5th should be the next story arc. So we're currently in the middle of Crucible of War as our fill-in event. Poll how many players purchased the desealing rod from the treasury. Yeah, that's. I'm curious to see. I mean, it would be great if Scopely ever put their numbers out for anything, but they're like Netflix where they don't, post their ratings. That was always the big knock on them was, they have all these great shows, but is anybody really watching them? They just say people are watching them, right? So, yeah, everyone seemed to feel the same way about the desealing rod. That, you know, it was just another thing that cost $100. It was a great pack. There was a lot of great stuff in it, but after all the other stuff that they've come out with between the amalgam, the Devore Fisha, the upgrades for that, the treasury upgrades, the new primes, the sixth ship dock, feels like they've had their hands in everybody's pocket for the last couple months a lot harder than they usually have. Like they're trying to get their first quarter off to a bigger start to fluff up some internal projection numbers or whatnot. Maybe they didn't meet their goal fourth quarter, and some people's heads might might be on the chopping block. So they're like, we need to raise revenue. Let's just sell everything we can think of. Um, and the desealing rod kind of came on the tail end of that, and people were already burned out and tapped out, and you know not looking forward to another thing that forced them to spend. Very Ferengi, very thematic, right? Because their Ferengis are always trying to turn a profit, but yeah, not so much, not so much with us here. Yeah, I mean, by comparison, compared to the other packs that they were selling for $99, potentially, depending on where your spending level is at. Like my pack, for example, we looked at it a week or two ago. I can't see it now because the event has ended. Um, but by comparison, my pack at $99 had more resources and materials in it than a lot of the $99 packs I could buy in the store. It was kind of a hybrid of like two packs together, so I was really getting about $150 worth of value for a $99 price point. But that was after you just tried to sell me like 12 other things. So, if they had led with it, if it had worked right the first time when they put it out, in month one, it might have got a little bit better, been a little bit better received. But coming on the heels of so many other spend events, uh, I don't think it was as well received as it could have been. And I think coming out strong right out of the gate with it might have burned him in the butt a little bit there. Rev pushed it hard. Yeah, I mean, he made some valid points to it, and it didn't have the par steel, it didn't have the titanium that the other packs did, but it had a lot more dilithium than a lot of other packs. And then as far as the 3-star and 4-star uncommons, those materials were higher than a lot of the other packs. Then plus it had the ultra recruit tokens. It was like 15,000 of them in my pack, which is a lot of officer pulls, and uh, the diodes for the treasury that would have pushed it up a good 10 or 12 levels higher as well. So it had a lot of potential. We'll see how they rework it for upcoming months and see if they just keep, well, you've spent money in the past, so we're gonna hope you keep doing it and keep trying to charge you 99 bucks for it. But um, you know, maybe they'll see everyone's feedback on. People are still bitching and complaining about it on Facebook. There's a couple of Facebook groups for the game. There's a private one that you have to get an invite to join, which just means you click the button to say invite. That has like 7,000 people in it, and then there's a public one that has like 15,000 people in it. And there's probably still today, 4 or 5 posts about. You mean I have to pay $100 for the desealing rod? Screw you, Scopely. I'm not spending any more money on this game. And it's like, where have you been for the last 2 weeks? And everybody's been talking about this. Oh, I didn't know I had to pay for it. I grinded out those 700 points, and now I have to pay for it. I'm like, you didn't grind out anything. Well, you didn't have to grind out anything. Let me rephrase that. If you did, well, that was your choice. Um, but no, you absolutely did not have to grind anything. They gave you the points very clearly. 1 point a kill, 100 points for doing your dailies, and it's a 7-day event. So you just finish your dailies and you get 700 points, and you're done. And that's if you did dailies that didn't require you to kill anything. If you just did mining dailies and buildings and upgrades and stuff and never killed anything, I don't know that you'd be able to complete. Maybe you'd be able to complete, maybe, um, without actually killing anything. But if you had to kill a couple of swarms, well, then you sped it up a little bit, or you killed something for your factions. Then you accelerated it, and you probably finished it on day 4 or 5 with the extra points from the kills. So it wasn't like you really had to go out of your way to complete it. And they made sure of that, so I give them credit for that part at least. But now we're in Crucible of War. Nice little 3-day event. We'll probably have 2 days of faction hunt and then 3 days of Apex to round things out before next Tuesday launches. Looks like we finished our final milestone here already. About a day and a half in. The perks of being in an active top-ranked alliance is you tend to finish these alliance milestones pretty quickly. So we got all of our 3,200 times 8 milestones or whatever it is, along with our alliance credits. Lots of alliance credits, lots of ultra recruit tokens. This is the event that really pays out the alliance credits and the ultra recruit tokens. So there's a nice little windfall there. And then I usually go cash in a bunch of those alliance credits because there's not much really to use them for, and get some more ultra recruit tokens. Because alliance credits you can use for longer peace shields. If I wanted to put up like a 7-day shield and just take the week off, I could certainly do that. Get some shorter shields here, but they give you 4, 8, and 12-hour shields every day. And eventually, sometimes you get some of these other peace shields from We're Sorry packs, or um, the 7-day chests, loyalty chests. Avatars, I don't really believe in buying. I could. Especially when they cost rare, fat, and epic chest tokens. No, thank you. So then it's like, well, what do you spend your ultra recruit tokens on? Armada directives when they become available. Don't need tactical cores either, so you spend them on ultra recruit tokens, and you go, okay, thank you. I will take a couple hundred more of these. There's 450. I always like to hang on to a little of these just in case something comes up and I do need to Ever cash in and buy that 7-day shield? I don't want to have to do it in the store. Right now I'm just working on a couple of missions. I have to kill a bunch of 47 hostiles for this one Romulan mission. Today's kind of a rep grind day. We are 18 million from glorified. I'm losing some points here because I'm doing missions. So I'm losing Romulan or Federation points. And then we got 70 million to go to champion here. So hoping to get this done in the next week before the next Battle Pass arc starts. And with Faction Hunt coming up, that should probably also help with that a little bit too. Or likely to come up. You never know for sure. Sometimes I like to mix things up, right? But seems likely that they'll just repeat the formula they've been using the last couple months. But until then, I also need to get. We'll kill that one. I also need to get some more Explorer parts as well. So I'm getting a little closer. Let's open these, see what we get. Bortas and Cavorts. Ugh. That's so bad. Why am I getting Bortas blueprints from killing 45 and up ships? Clearly, I don't think I need a level 28 ship blueprint if I'm killing 45 through 47s, but I guess the cutoff for getting good blueprints, maybe it's 48, maybe it's 49. I know when I kill 49, the heavy capital traders, those are usually where I get my, 4-star uh, ship blueprints. So I guess, I don't know exactly what the cutoff is. Maybe it's 48. But trying to get a couple more 47s to spawn here. So I can finish up this mission. Crucible's a pretty straightforward event. 3-day milestones, go out, kill hostiles, or upgrade ships and get bonus points. Then you get you get a lot of par steel. Is really what you get from the main event. You also get these Alliance Gold trophies, which are woefully out of date. We'll look at that in just a second. Thank you for the 47. The Alliance Gold trophies there's 2 places to cash them in. Actually, no, there's only 1 place to cash these in. I lied. It's under the Recruit tab. You've got these 2 options here. Silver trophies are the ones you can buy in the event store. Or, I'm sorry, in the regular store. You can buy silver trophies to help your alliance score points. Crucible of War, Alliance Boost Pack. You can buy this. Get yourself some silver trophies. Get yourself some moderate level resources. Like this is $100, but like look at these resources compared to what was in the treasury pack. Like this is significantly lower than that. A little out of date here. And then these alliance trophies boost your alliance score to help get you to other milestones. If you're not in an active alliance, that might be something you would have to do to get your point total up. Not really worth doing. Oh, mining officer pack. Shakedown crew back. Look at that. We'll look at those in a second. But the other thing with the recruit packs, you got 2 options. You get the gold trophy recruit pack, which costs 900. I have no idea how I got this uneven number of them, by the way. 900 for 1 chest. This is these scale by level to some degree. Maybe the packs don't, but I know the events and what it pays out does. So maybe that's how I got an uneven number when I was a lower level. Maybe I had a month where either I didn't finish it or that's just what the payout was. So this is the good part. Again, why doesn't everything have this little drop reward button? The eye right there. You're guaranteed independent credits, you're guaranteed a relocation token, you're guaranteed ship XP, and you are guaranteed armada directives. And here's the possible payouts right there. So it tends to fall in this range for what you're most likely to get. The 200 to 350 are actually the ones that have the highest percentage. You got relocation tokens, the middle of the ground again, ship XP, and then you've got these rare armada directives they actually have a decent chance at. Uncommon is still 60%, and then from there the other 40% is divvied up among the various chances to get rare directives, but that's not a bad pull. I get 400 a day, so I'll get 1200 over the course of the event. I can spend 900 and save the extra 300, and then every fourth month I would get an extra chest pull. Get some of these credits. The other thing that you can do with them, if you so choose, would be the Gold Trophy Recruit Pack. This is one of the most basic beginner officer packs in the game. At one point in time, this is what the Premier pack looked like. The Premium pack. These are the basic officers that were all in the game when it started or very shortly thereafter. So this was just another chance to get those officers. It has not really been updated from what I understand since the game came out. These are all, at this point in time, I've got most of these officers. There's a few in here that I do still need shards for. Yuki and Moro come to mind. Mirek is also pretty good as well and close to tearing up here. And even Zhao somehow has eluded me, maxing out Zhao. He's not as necessary of an officer, but he's still a good one to have. He does have some good benefits working with Yuki and Marcus. But you only get 5 shards per pull from this pack, and you are heavily weighted toward the uncommons. So this is essentially, unless I get a Zhao shard, it's basically just going to be officer XP. And then maybe a few transporter patterns. Hopefully trying to get like a shard for some of these officers that they're close, but they're still far enough away. Like if I was only needed 2 or 3 more Mirek shards, maybe I'd open a couple of these, but better off really just sort of saving up on them and trying to go for a double gold trophy recruit pack here. Is a good way to get some directive sourcing since it's, not many other ways. I agree with that for sure. Um, whether you're trying to do events, which now we've got more events that require armada directives. It seems like on a regular basis, it's either spend resources or start armadas pretty consistently. The other reward, of course, from Crucible of War are the gold tokens there. These guys, these Alliance event trophies. If your alliance finishes the whole leaderboard, you get 32,000 of them. So you have enough to do 4 resource pulls, but you're limited to 2. If you do them quick enough, though, the timer is a little off there. You can actually do an extra one, I'm pretty sure. I've done it before. So this is available again in 2 days and 13 hours, but it's 2 days and 17 hours before it goes away. So I'm pretty sure I've waited and actually done a 3rd pull, even though it says limit 2 per event. They may have fixed it. Sometimes they catch that stuff and they realize that they screwed up and their timers are off and they fix it and just don't let you do it. But I know in previous months I have done this because I really needed the reward. The speed up pack here, not really worth it. You're spending 4,000 for, what are we talking about here? A day, 2 days, 6 days of speed ups. There are better things that you could Olympus, you did it last time too. Yeah, I'm pretty confident over the last few months. Because I've desperately needed gas and dilithium. I've just waited it out, and cashed it in for the extra pull there. The pack that's really is the one I hear people talk about the most. I don't know if it's the most popular. I don't have the numbers. I don't want to say anything that I can't really, put some numbers behind like that. But I will say, hang on one second here, that the pack that I see, the pack that I see people cash in the most is this one, the Armada Reward Pack, because it's a guaranteed rare. It's three uncommon, one guaranteed rare, but it is double the cost. It's 16,000. So you have to ask yourself, do you want a guaranteed rare Armada and three uncommons, or do you need the resources to upgrade? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I knew I needed the gas and the dilithium, so I did that right away. That was spent my two packs. That was 16,000. This is limited to once. Again, I guess you could have done it twice if you did it real quick and then before the timer reset. You could have done this one again, maybe. Um, I guess you also have to weigh in what exactly does a rare Armada get you. If you're in a point where, if you're in a mid-level spot, is it just one rare Armada you're going to do, which is going to get you a couple thousand credits? May not even be enough to open a chest. That might not be as worth it to you as just taking the resources. If you can sort of do like a round robin group that a lot of people do, where you and four friends, everybody takes turns and you all set a rare Armada, so that way everybody gets credits and you have a chance of getting an extra box or something out of it. And then maybe that's enough to do like a six chest pull. That might be a little more with it to you. If you can do some deep space armadas and you can get higher credit rewards for the setters chests, which pay out 30 or 40,000 depending on how far you can go, that might also have a lot more value too. Um, but it also depends on what's in your chest, what's in your rare credit chest, because the G4 one is terrible. I've said this before, and I've shown you guys this one before. Um, I was trying to get some background music, but that's actually kind of annoying. The G4 Rare Armada pack, which costs a ridiculous amount, is garbage. They don't tell you, first off, what your drop rates are. Um, you're most likely to get some faction credits and maybe like a badge out of it. But uh, as far as an officer shard, getting good officer shards out of this, it's Scopely. That's not going to happen, right? So this is pretty terrible. So then you have to look at, well, what do I get, here out of my rare stuff? Well, my rare Armada pack here, even though I'm Ops 43, only pays out 3-star resources. So at some point in time, this stops becoming valuable. I still need 3-star because I'm still working on some ships. I'm still using 3-star for some researches. Still take some of it. So it does still have value to me now. Um, there's also the scrapping mechanism where, once I sort of outpace and I don't really need it for anything anymore, well, then you get into the fact where you're just leveling up and upgrading, Mayflowers or D3s or whatever you're doing, or to scrap them. So then you get extra G4 resources out of it, which you'll need a lot of to do the upgrades. But do I want to do that, get the pack, get the resources, and then upgrade the ship to then scrap it? Or do I just want to, does it make more sense for me to just be like, hey, what's this? That's 372 crystal. That seems a lot easier. I'll just take that. Oh, and I get a little titanium and some rare out of it as well. Um, maybe I just do that and call it a day. I don't know. I haven't done the math. to say for certain. Certainly, it was easier to just take the just take the credits and call it a day there, but they're you know, it's going to depend on where you are, where what's going to make your life the easiest is really what it comes down to. Leveling up another ship, kind of a pain in the ass. Going through all the, parking it in augment space for a week, letting it auto grind kills. Uh, you know, that works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people come by and steal your bounty hunters, and then you're just sort of sitting there for hours with no kills, and or you're cashing in latinum to use for ship XP, and you're spending a crap ton of latinum for that, and it's a lot of effort. Does it pay off enough? I guess that's the question. Yay, we finished. Now I gotta return to the colony, which is there. I'll use the other ship for that one. Alright, I gotta change this music. I was looking for royalty-free music, and they gave me like that generic stuff that's in every, you know, YouTube corporate demonstration video that you've ever seen. You're like, oh God, I do not want to listen to that. Let's see what we got. This is some advertisements. Please hold. It's not even elevator music might actually be better than what that stuff was. Oh, this is the calming music for work station, which I'll admit I do have to listen to every once in a while to, you know, keep you from punching the computer, right? But Crucible of War should go 3 days. Then you'll get a day or two of 2 days, probably a faction hunt, and then 3 days of Apex. As always, I'll just renew my suggestion. Do all do all the faction hunts, even if you're focusing on something in particular. Do them all. Get the credits. Get the extra ultra recruit tokens, which will become even more valuable here in a little bit. Uh, One of the things, yeah, yeah, exactly. Good music that won't get you hit with the DMCA. Yeah, trying to don't want to get hit with any recording fees, bans or blocks, or when I export over to YouTube, I don't want them to flag it, and then I have to try and find a way to edit out the audio or the video, which is no good. Yeah, we're just gonna turn this off because that's not good either. Okay, we'll work on that. Recruit packs. That was the other thing I was talking about. So this month they did the Ultra Recruit pack here as a new way to source uh, TOS crew officers. They called it the PvP pack, but it's really not. It's really they called it the PvP pack because they realized it wasn't good enough and they added Worf and Sela into it. But if you notice, they basically just took the same skin. These are a lot of the same officers that you see in other packs, and then they just replaced them. Like, you know, if this was these first four, I don't know who it is. It's probably uh, Pike, 6 of 10. The same guys you get transporter patterns for, right? They left Kirk, so that's probably Nero and Gorkon. And they're like, oh, we'll just switch them up and we'll put Worf and Sela in instead. And they left Kirk. And then you've got your faction crew, your burning crew, your hull breach crew, and they left the mining crew in just because. Because again, this is part of the same pack that they didn't have anybody else to replace them with, so they just left the guys in there. They'd been better off taking these guys out, thus increasing the overall chances that you'd get somebody more focused that you'd actually want, instead of just getting fluff or filler. But they have talked about this before, upcoming for future months, that they will bring this pack back again at probably the same price point, which is a slightly higher cost, and use this as a way to source officers from more recent arcs. So we had a TOS one this month. Next month might be a next generation one, where you'll have another way to source next generation officers. And then in a month or two, they might bring it back as a Ferengi pack, where you'll have a new way to source the Ferengi officers. Maybe if they do it next generation, then if they do the duality one, that might give you a chance to get like Gowron and Martok shards, and Bael, who kind of got hosed because she was in there at the end. She came in at the end in the event store, or she came in at the end when there was the event store in month 3. So Gowron and Martok were in the first 2 months, so you got shards for unlocking them from completing the battle pass and stuff. And then in month 3, they were available in the event store, so people were able to pick up extra shards for these guys to level them up. Bael came in month 3, so there really wasn't a way to get extra shards for her. So a lot of people, unless you bought her, she's still tier 1. So now you're talking about her only bonus only being a 200% increase, not really worth using compared to Martok and Gowron, free to play. You're talking about them being tier 2 and a 500% bonus, a little bit better. So they very likely could see next month a next generation pack. The month after that, perhaps we'll see these characters. Lursa Bator also kind of came into the party late in that same arc with Bael at the end, so there really weren't ways to source them to get them tiered up very much. And then possibly down the road, we'll see a Ferengi pack, giving people ways to get ROM shards and, more importantly, get Cath shards. So, uh, they add Cath to the game to make her a better version of Talon, but she's not better until she hits tier 4. Talon, a maxed Talon, which a lot of people have because she's a common officer, is a 20% damage reduction. Cath doesn't get above that till tier 4. Tier 4 she becomes 21%, and then her max when she's tier 5 is a 25% reduction. So obviously she has a better payout at the end, but unless you're buying her, or unless you bought her in multiples, you would have to buy both packs and do all the events. I think even to get her that far, you probably would get her maybe to tier 4, tier 3 or 4. Um, but getting her maxed, you really would have needed a lot of good Dabo pulls as well. And maybe you had to buy that too. You had to buy the Dabo wheels and just keep spinning until you ran out of spins, trying to get extra shards for her to get her all the way. It's a good reduction. She's a good officer, but the sourcing for her isn't there to get her leveled up and maxed out. So that's probably a pack that they've hinted, or they mentioned in the dev Q&A, that is their plan for how to source some of these officers, so they don't just keep adding them to the existing packs and diluting those further, because then it just makes it harder to get people that you actually want. It becomes more of a crapshoot. Oops Chest the other day gave you the last 2 shards you needed to unlock ROM. Well, congrats on that, Ray. Yeah, they gave out 2 Cath shards and 2 ROM shards for, hey, we screwed up the scoring, so everybody just get that. You want a billion par steel? What do I get for this, for my billion par steel? A billion par steel. If I say yes, I get 36, 130, 700 Romulan credits. And if I say no, well, then I get 5 one-day speed ups. I get 300 million par steel for myself. Is a billion par steel worth 36 rare and 130 uncommon ore? Oof. Sadly, I think the answer is yes, because I think to upgrade my ops, if I wanted to push, let's take a look. Let's take a look, because I know I'm going to need ore to upgrade operations. So I'm currently 43, so to go to 44, this is what I need upgraded. I need dry dock D, and then I need 16,500 plus 6,000 rare. So yeah, I think we're giving up the billion par steel. Okay, let's move that back over here. Makes sense to have the newer officers be slightly more expensive. Yeah, I get that. I get, making them a little scarcer, a little bit more expensive to get the newer guys because a lot of them are stronger than the other ones. So yeah, we're going to go with this one. I will give you a billion par steel. I'll just go find some helpless sap to raid that off of later. Claim my rewards. By the way, in case you didn't know this, if you're ever doing a mission and they tell you to go back to your base and you have a ship there, just move your ship out and move it right back in. Um, that'll complete the mission. It's not like this particular ship. It's just move any ship into your base. You can also blow yourself up, and when you respawn back in your base, that will also work if you don't want to fly all the way back and whatnot. All right, so we're going back here. But usually, usually when you do that, you're going to go back to base, you're going to complete the mission, and the next thing they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, I've got something else for you to do. And they're going to send you back to the same system or one close by. So instead of flying back and forth, it's easier to just move a ship out and move it back in. Just in case you didn't know that. Yeah, I'm glad to have them make them available to the game somehow. And I don't mind either that even like the uh, transporter pattern guys, like the newer ones they added last year, when they added these 5 officers to the game, they made them 1100 instead of 1000. Okay, that's good. They all have different abilities, and some of them are stronger than their original counterparts. Giorgio is better than Nero for in terms for activating burning. She works more consistently, especially when she's tiered up a few levels. So getting some shards for her and using her ability and upgrading her, it's worthwhile to pay the extra 100 shards, 100 points per shard to get her because she's just better at what she does. And I'm sure whether they continue to build on that, like if they put new officers in the events in the alt transporter patterns this year, will they increase them again and make them 1200 and leave Mud in them 1100? Or will they knock Mud down now because he's been out longer and now he goes down to 1000 like everybody else, and now we put the new guys in at 1100? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hoping for a Harrison pack. Aren't we always? Harrison is an officer that they really uh, they really tout that sense of urgency business model with Harrison. It's like we're putting him up and we're putting him up for 2 days, and you're not going to see this pack again for 6 months. So you better buy him now while you can, otherwise you ain't getting Harrison. And He's really, really good. And with ROM now, he's even better. ROM giving you extra shots, Harrison negating, avoiding their shields, so it's just a lot more damage right to the hull. If you have issues with mitigation on a target, you pair him up with Marcus uh, or Kang or whoever you're going after. If you have to get through some ships that they have on their base, and they have high mitigation, just another option there. Really pour on the damage in turn one, but yeah, Harrison's a good officer. Harrison and Honor Guard Worf. Hey, I'm going to do a whole bunch more critical shots, and I'm going to ignore a big chunk of your shields. But they're really stingy with the old Harrison packs. They had auctions for him when I first started playing the game, and it was just like oh, it's a Harrison auction. It's similar to the same thing every auction is, where it's a leaderboard and you got to spend a ridiculous amount of materials to place in like the top 10 to get some shards for him. And then if you don't want to do that, well, then you could buy this pack for 20 bucks or 50 bucks, I think it ended up being, to get enough shards to unlock him or whatever, or half an unlock. I don't even think it was a full unlock for 50 bucks. I think it was like a half unlock. um, and then they really don't. It hasn't been an auction in over a year for Harrison that I've seen or heard about, and it was probably around somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas that I think they put him available for just a couple days in the store, which is probably when I bought him because I finally got tired of not having him. Is Prime Ship Repair worth it? Is that the new one, the second one, or is that the original one? There's two Prime Ship Repairs now, and they named them slightly similar. I have no idea what that guy just said. Go to the armory. Okay, great. Half the time I don't read these. I just click through the quests. The new one. All right, so the new one, is it worth it? Well, I'll tell you what it does, and you can decide if that's worth it to you or not. So I have it. It had two benefits to getting the pack. You learn it. You also have enough 5-star gas left over from buying the pack that you can also do the Stella cargo upgrade. So you don't have to buy that pack separately. So you get 2 for 1 out of it. As far as the actual repair reduction goes, before I did it, a full hull repair on my Kelvin was about 42, 43 million tritanium. And after doing it, now a full hull repair is about 33 million. So it went down about 10 million, which is about 25%. So it's a decent savings. Um, is that worth the price? If you think about the long run over the course of the game, and as my ships get bigger and more expensive, maybe. But eventually, I would have gotten those G5 materials somehow at ops 48, 49, 50, or whatever you have to be to get them. But getting it now, yeah, certainly does make it a little more cost effective. Trying to use the Kelvin to do things like missions, even, the costs add up pretty quickly. Let alone if I want to do any actual grinding or PvP with it. So, yeah, it seems to me like it's about a 25% cost reduction. I mean, if you're still using G3 ships, probably not that big of a savings. Because the cost to repair my auger, which is tier 8, is like 500,000, 600,000, somewhere in that range. So lowering that 50,000 or 100,000 tritanium, not a big savings. But for the G4 and up ships, which have very high repair costs, there's a savings there for sure. Plus, you get the Stella cargo, so it's less trips back and forth with your Stella. So it was a roundabout way of answering your question, Ray. But it's hard to say. Is it worth it? I can tell you what it does, and then you can say, is that worth it to me? Yes, that's worth it to me. If you're, not really kind of what you do and how you play the game and the ships you have right now, maybe you wait on it a little bit. Ooh, what's this? Oh, that's a 12 million other mission that I can't kill. Yeah, nope, not killing that anytime soon. So, oh, it's a scout. Oh, I'm too weak. Screw it, we're going for it anyway. We're going for it anyway. Can't pass up a 47 scout. Oh, we got him. Nice. Please tell me he gave me a chest. Yes, he did. How many messages did we get? 169. That's not bad. But those are Romulan messages, which go toward my Klingon credits, and that one, it's the lowest, so that's probably actually almost... Yeah, I only need 180, so that's almost basically a conversion right there. 350 extra credits. Okay. Still have not bought new mining primes. Yeah, these are... They just keep adding more and more primes. Station assault and, survival skills and this material mining. This one you're talking about, which is the away team particles. All right, so that's in the away team store. Do do do. Yeah. Uh, Definitely not getting those, and especially now that prime material extractor increases the mining rate of all grades. So you mine 100% faster. Well, you add 100% to your mining rate. It's not like you mine 100% faster than you were before. You know, as we've seen from Quark and some of the other officers, adding 100% certainly speeds things up, but it's not like it doubled what your mining rate was. Um, and now that it's these particles, no, it's the territory particles that'll be sourced, so you can get these primes. I think these are the new ones that'll, when you get the treasury up, you can start getting these prime particles. But eventually, you never know, they may add something to the game for the away team particles. Primes get a 10% discount on par steel, titanium, and dilithium cost for other prime researches. Yeah, no thank you. Now I have to kill 18 hostiles at level 47 or higher again. God damn it. Alright, we're going to have to go to a different system, which means I'm going to need this ship back. So the downside, you can move out here, like when I move out here to this hub, I can do a lot of grinding, but the system that has the 48s is this one, and you need higher warp speed to get out there. It's not included in the hub range. Like I can go, this one only requires warp 26 to move between all of these that are within this hub, so like almost any ship can get there. But the good system, where you can do a lot of grinding, requires warp 135 still. So we'll have to bring that back, swap ships, and then I can go try and kill a lot more 47s in Chikmuk. The other big thing that they did announce today that we'll touch on here is the roadmap for what they did one 6 months ago back in like October, September, October, and they said, hey, here's all the things that we want to do and kind of want to get out, and looks like they've checked off everything that's on their list. So if you didn't see it yet, you've got a few things on the old roadmap. They made the Discord announcement, and then there's the link to the old website. New features coming up this year will probably be gradual over the next 6 months. Option one here, below deck officers, people that actually have abilities and things like that that will work in different slots below decks and give bonuses to your ship. Please note this is a work in progress and may differ from the final version. So it might not actually end up looking like this when all is said and done at the end of the day. With this little UI over here showing which different slots guys are active, and they have these little uh, circles around them, little bonus buffs that they're working below decks. Whether they're going to go back and rework some of the unused officers to give them new abilities remains to be seen. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. They very easily could just use this feature for new officers going forward. Um, maybe if they add some whatever Deep Space Nine, Voyager, whatever, story arcs they get into over the next year, um, and they make the new officers for that do stuff below decks to kind of give them value to distinguish themselves from previous officers, or whether they go back and say, hey, nobody uses Wesley Crusher. His officer ability is terrible. Let's give him a different ability that makes him work better below decks or something. Could be a thing. Yeah, this one. I'm a doctor, not a UI designer. That was pretty cute. I did like that when I saw it. Uh, Ties in very well there. Server versus server features. Going to continue expanding on that. So we've had the leaderboards, the cross server leaderboards. They continue to improve on that fact, as they did have mentioned. First step is going to be actually adding the names of the people on the other servers, so you don't just have to look at uh, retrieving. Nope, that's not what I wanted. We can do it over here too. Haha, there we go. Yeah, I mean, it's very likely that they'll just do it for new officers going forward, but it's always possible they may rework some old officers. Maybe they'll just rework the old Next Generation crew generic officers and give them the below decks ability instead of just having them be duplicates of the original common officers. Um, but they do want to actually have more integration on this server versus server functions, besides just the leaderboard events, possibly looking at doing, like, I almost want to call it like an instance. We've seen in other games where just like, like your alliance would challenge an alliance from another server, and then you guys would just like go meet in a battlefield somewhere, and then you guys would all just fly around and maybe kill each other, and whoever's ship's left standing wins the event, and then gets a prize or something like that. Um, or you're just invading, sending your ships and their ships. It says to a new universe. That's what I have to think that this is going to be a mechanic. It's not like my guy is just going to go pop over to server 41 and then just run around and kill everybody's miners and go woo, uh, you know, like we're doing like some type of dormitory raid or whatever like that. I'd have to imagine it's just going to be some type of instance event like you see in a lot of other games, a lot of multiplayer online games like Warcraft and stuff, where you're just going into a temporary little battleground space or something and fighting against each other and going from there. And then the other big thing here is the Alliance star bases. What it'd be like to run a bigger space station. Alliance star bases will give alliances the ability to build and expand their very own space stations. Ooh. You can build your own space station. Go Vega. We're going to have our own base. Each alliance base will provide unique abilities, exclusive mining nodes, and extra defenses for each member's own bases. Early in development, so we're happy to hear about some ideas and feedback you have on it. Basically, we don't know what we want this thing to do. Why don't you guys tell us what you really want, and we'll figure out if we can program it. Let's get that guy repaired. The extra mining nodes sounds good, especially, if it's G4. Excuse me. If it's G4 nodes, because we're getting a little crowded on some of those. Getting a little crowded on the old G4 nodes. So we'll see if we can get something, if it gives better nodes like that, or whether it's going to be uh, specific mining nodes like we have in the territories where it's isogen and you need isogen to do research and things, and you need the other parts from the isogen, the reactors and cores and that kind of stuff to turn on the buffs. If it'll be something like that, where it's, hey, you need the space station, well, here's your space station mining nodes, and you have to mine this extra resource that we just made up. We'll call it trilithium, and you have to go mine that. And then, yeah. And then you can use that to then turn on the buffs that the base gives you to then make your other stuff better. Would be really cool if you could swap below deck and bridge crew while out of station. That would be a cool feature, and that would be a good feature if perhaps that's part of the space station, right? If we could put a space station out here and I could leave my base in my territory, and then I could just be like, I'm just going to dock here, and then I need to switch officers or something like that. You could move them within slots on the ship. That would be pretty cool. They'll probably say it's too hard to do or something like that. Or even if you could repair, if I'm out here, I'm going to just dock on my space station because it's 10 minutes closer than my, base. 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back. Let me just camp out here and repair it. That would be great. Let's speed this up. That's definitely going to be one of those things where let's see what they do with it before we know whether or not it's going to be good or not. All right, so let's go over here. I need to kill some 47s. Hang on. Before I do that, let me look and make sure there aren't any 47s. Because, hey, what do you know? There's one right there. There's actually a couple of them right here. Yeah, I agree. It would be really cool if they could switch that stuff up. Was there anything else on the old and new Star Trek IP? We have some very exciting shows and characters coming this year. We can't wait to welcome them all to the community. Yep. Fan favorites from new shows and old Star Trek TV history. Yep. New features, new officers, all that fun stuff. So, I mean, they did acquire the IP, so we know they have. I don't want to kill battleships. They do a lot of hull damage because battleships use, especially Klingon ones, they use both types of weapons. So you get energy and you get kinetic weapons from them. So unless you're doing Pike, Talon, Chen, one of them is getting through and doing a big chunk of damage. So I try to avoid I try to avoid killing the battleships if I don't have to. But uh, it definitely seems that the direction that they have already announced this year they will be having a Deep Space Nine arc, and coming off the heels of the Ferengi event, a lot of people seem to think that's where we're going. Rev said in his video yesterday, his stream last night, um, when asked he said the only thing he would comment on is what his excitement level was for this upcoming arc. And he said for Ferengi arc month 1 back in February, he was 1 out of 10 excited. And for this month, he was like 4 out of 10 excited. for Ferengi Arc Part 2. And for April's monthly arc, he is 10 out of 10 excited. So there's got to be something in there that he's pretty excited about. It's not like he's a huge Deep Space Nine fan. He does like the Cardassians. He would be very excited to see them added to the game, and that could easily be a thing. Uh, and I don't know if the official Scopely page or anything like that was hinting at it, but they did also put something on the Facebook page about studying your faction maps, and it kind of had a little blueprint of where the different faction groups were in the galaxy. It was like, oh, you've got your this base over here, and then you've got these guys over here, and they were all sort of circled and highlighted, and it's like, mm-hmm. And what are we, what are we gonna add over here? And maybe, just maybe, this is where they're gonna have the Federation space go out this way, put Bajor out here, and put some Cardassian stuff over here. But I don't know that that quite works because I feel like the Cardassians kind of also share a border with the Klingons because that's why they fought a lot and fought all the time. So you don't really have too much room in here unless they're going to move the map. So as far as grading this arc overall, I like the new officers. I like the Fisha. I'm not happy with how it was sort of implemented and how long it really takes to upgrade. But I understand, of course, that they wanted to sell the upgrade packs for it. I'll appreciate the content more, 4 to 6 months from now, when my Fisha is actually, paying me out decent numbers. Because I mean, here we are. This is, you know, basically 2 months later, and I am almost almost done with tier. I'm not even. I just started on tier two. I could get one of these components, but I'm saving for the warp engines first because I'll take the extra warp range, just in case it helps me get to a better system. Um, the mining tool isn't that big of an upgrade, so that's not why I'm doing. While I'm skipping that one for now. But the Fisha itself, the new concentrated latinum, I do like the fact that it is eventually going to pay out higher levels of platinum because you do need it. You do need it for common parts, for ship XP, for speeding things up. And rather than just have to keep flooding the game with the individual speed ups and, more common resources and more things like that, that eventually you might outpace, they're just giving you a way to get more latinum, which you can then convert for what you do need. I like that mechanic. I think in the long run of the game, I think it's got a better potential. I don't think the short term payout is really that great right now, but I think eventually it'll get up there. Um, I like Rom as a base cracking officer. I like Quark as another protected cargo officer. Kath, again, as mentioned before, has the potential to surpass Talon, making it easier to kill interceptors. Um, could also it'll help with their swarms potentially. The higher level swarms are still, once you get over like 41, Jayla ends up working out better. And then as your Jayla gets tiered up, that's somebody else I would like to see better sourcing for. Perhaps they'll be adding her to, transporter patterns. That would be really nice. It'd be really nice if they brought back some of the old ship skins as well for the Franklin and the Vidar, because we haven't seen those really in quite a while. We get the Stella one like every month. They do an event for that, but we haven't had the Franklin one in 5 or 6 months, and the Vidar one was probably 3 months ago that they did an event for it that gave out some of the shards. Basically, you had to win it to get enough shards. Otherwise, everybody got a fraction of it, so everybody got a little closer. Vic says you have the potential for another TNG-ish related arc, but I think you're right. It's probably Deep Space Nine. Yeah, I mean they've already. I can't. I mean, I guess they could delay it further, do some type of next generation story arc for another 2 or 3, another 2 or 3 month arc, and then do a 4 month arc of Deep Space Nine as well. Um, but I don't know if they want to go back and revisit that type of content right there. Um, maybe they'll have Captain Picard send you on a mission out there, to go investigate what's going on. Um, but I think we're gonna see. We'll find out in a week for sure. You're only gonna wait 7 days, right? That's nothing. Overall, what else did we have in this particular arc? The officers were good. The Treasury. Hey, it's a free building that gave bonuses to mining speed, protected cargo, and cargo capacity. Again, better than having to do a prime research to get some of this stuff and spend $99 for it. Um, better than having to dump tons of G3 or G4 uncommon and rare resources into a ship to get its protected cargo up another 25%, or boost its cargo capacity by tiering up an officer or something like that. Here's just a free building that just slowly upgrades all this stuff for you. I think this is a big improvement to overall quality of life. And it's going to take a little time, but I mean, already getting a 25% boost has been a noticeable change. I can leave ships out longer without them going OPC. So overall, the storyline of the arc wasn't that great. The uh, paywall that they put everything behind, not great at all. But the features that they did give you access to, yeah, I'm not the harshest critic on. I think they were actually overall pretty good. And once you get over the initial like sticker shock value of some of the things, or some of the other stuff that's going on that sort of distracts your attention, like the desealing rods, if you just ignore that part of the treasury and just be like, yeah, it doesn't even exist. I don't even care about that thing. It's like, oh, I got these other three great benefits for free that help all my ships. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you. Cardassians share a border with the Romulans, the Federation, and the Dominion. Well, we can't put them in deep space, right? So we can't put them in. We're not going to rebrand these systems and turn them into, Cardassian space and wedge them in here. So now I think, and you don't want to put them in deep space. Maybe there's room. No, there's not really room here either to stick them in here, to put the Cardassians in here, and then this technically is not deep space yet. This is like the end of the non-deep space sectors. I think you need like warp range in the low 50s to get out here. So maybe they could do some different paths off of here if they were trying to keep the map accurate. They could do that. Otherwise, yeah, we're just going to end up expanding and just stick them over here. We are killing 47s. There are none. All right, kill some 46s and try and respawn. Well, thank you for Googling it. That certainly makes things easier for all of us. That's true. The wormhole is something I haven't thought about. What the potential implications of that could be. That could be something that they introduce now, put them somewhere, and then later on be like, hey, guess what? We are going to add the wormhole, and we're going to do that and create a flight path to this other new area, which is where we'll put the Dominion when they eventually decide to add them into the game. And then that'll be a whole new crowd of officers. You get the Cardassians, and then eventually you get the Dominion, and some of their Vorta and founders, and could eventually even lead to the Breen being introduced into the game. Those guys just look like bounty hunters from Star Wars. I need to kill 5 more of these guys. Okay. But, well, I think hopefully they've sort of realized that while yes, there are other people who just buy everything when it comes out, that those people are getting a little fewer and far between, I hope. It seems like anyway. And then eventually they do come up with these paths to play. Like they did add the path for the amalgam for everybody to get it for free. It's going to cost you. It's going to take you 5 months to get it, but there is a way to do it. Or if you bought one and you want a second one, you can get a second one for over the next 4.5 months. What do we need? Two more? One more? Two more. There's a 48. Oh, good. There's two 48s. That'll finish things up. Somebody also pointed out that the next arc launches a week from today on Tuesday, April 5th. And April 5th is apparently First Contact Day from the movie. That's when Zephyr Cochrane and those guys got attacked by the Borg, and because they were meeting the Romulans, I'm sorry, the Vulcans on First Contact Day. Um, so if they had given any thoughts and actually did any research or knew anything about Star Trek, that it might be a Borg arc for April, focusing around that first contact aspect of things. And that's another exciting thought because that would be pretty exciting and pretty cool to get another Borg arc, an updated Borg arc with updated Borg stuff going on. Possibly, a few new Borg officers with the Queen and maybe some other a new collective group that works independently of the original guys that we've got. Um, and then maybe you get like Zephyr Cochrane and some of his people as well. Use the ship to bomb the armory. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this Elvros system. Hey, Mr. World, does Scopely delete storylines? Do they delete storylines? Not 100% sure what you mean by that. Let's see what we got in here. Hey, more barrels. Yay. Alright, so it must be 49 and up to get better ship blueprints in this, because I get this is these are the same things you get in the lower systems. Mentioning Zephram Cochrane makes me really want them to introduce building officer slots and to have officers who increase the efficacy of building buffs. It's an interesting idea, Olympus. They could certainly, for at the beginning of the game when I first started, I thought that's how like people like Mabenga and stuff worked. Was like, oh, I have to build up my defense platforms, and then I have to put like those guys, you know, in the defense platform to make it better. I was like, no, they have to be on a ship in your base that's not doing anything, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Um, but you have this whole little group of officers, these people, Zara and whatnot. When defending the station, she increases the ship's hull health by 10%. It's like, well, that's not so good. But if you could put her inside your defense platform and make that better, increasing the weapon damage and stuff like that, that would be interesting. They are adding a new storyline next Tuesday. Are they going to delete another one? No. The storylines end each month. So the Ferengi arc is over. There'll be no more Ferengi-based missions and things like that going on in the game. So that'll be replaced with whatever the next content is. But like all the Ferengi characters and everything like that still stays in the game. Um, and it certainly is something that they could circle back to again at a later date and add on to. But, um, you know, this little chapter is closed on it, and now they'll move on to something else. A lot like Star Trek, right? They just move on to the next episode, they go to the next planet, and they solve the next problem. So what do we get for this one? Another 645,000. I'm killing my Federation points by doing these missions, but I gotta do them now before things get these pick up these big chunks while I can. Down to 68, 60. I'm under 69 now. Still got 18 million to get the glorified. I keep losing points. I get the points for the kills, but then I lose them for doing the mission. Yeah, the monthly story events run for 3 week arcs, and then there's like a filler week in between them where we just have some filler events, and then they move on to the next arc afterwards. Why, hello, Lord of Chaos. What's up to you? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna. What's that? No, no, nope, nope. I remember those commercials, and they were funny for about the first 15 seconds, uh, and then everybody started doing it all the time, and it quickly became really annoying. But I do appreciate you guys all jumping into the stream and chatting with me about the game, and I know I've enjoyed myself for the last hour and 20 minutes already. We'll wrap things up here in a few minutes, but still got a couple minutes left here. Do appreciate you guys chatting with me, following the Twitch channel. If you miss any of it, the content's also available on YouTube afterwards. Occasionally, I also do individual, game mechanic videos that are just on YouTube. So if you have questions about specific things related to mining, officer crews, my most popular one by far is related to the warp particle that you need for this particular research. I was surprised to find out, well, I wasn't surprised, but so if you're trying to do increased warp speed, there's this enhanced warp core research right here. And to do it, it says consumes a warp particle to increase the warp range of all ships. And you need one warp particle and you need research and development level 40. So a lot of people mistakenly think that when they get to level 40, they'll be able to complete this mission. But what they don't know is that the quest chain to complete to get the actual warp particle requires you to upgrade your ops to level 42 midway through the chain. Then there's like 5 or 6 more missions you have to do afterwards before you actually get the warp particle. So it's a little misleading in the way it's represented there because it leads you to make the assumption that you should be able to do this at ops 40, and people push from 39 to 40 before they're ready. I did, uh, trying to get said warp particle, only to find out the harsh truth that it is not available. That is by far my most popular video on YouTube, with the number of views I've gotten and comments and whatnot. But there's a variety of different ones that are on there, uh, different topics. So always worth checking out. You're level 9 on STFC. Okay. Well, welcome to the game as a new player. You got some ways to go, but it's a fun game. It's got lots of different avenues to explore. At the early levels, it's going to try and push you up and up and up. Don't push yourself too quickly. Um, Ops 14 is kind of a good place to hang out. Ops 12 is a good one to also hold off at because if you're thinking about trying to transfer servers to one, if you have friends who play the game on other servers or something like that, once you get past Ops level 12, you can't transfer servers anymore. You get that one-time token, so keep an eye on that. And then as long as you are under Ops level 15, no one can attack your station. So that's also a good point. Once you get to 15 and higher, then you can start PvPing and other people can start attacking your ships. So 14 is a good spot to sort of, hold for a week or two, do some mining, save up on some resources, work on some research, upgrade your ships a little bit before pushing on for a couple more levels. So you got your Orion Corvette and your Rialta up to your max tier. Okay, yeah, good, making some progress there. So you'll have coming up soon. I think you can get the Findra. What's that? Level 12, maybe? Does it tell you? Ops 12 maybe is where you can do the Findra, which is a nice little upgrade over the earlier ships. Also gives you a new class, being an interceptor, which then matches up well against battleships. Definitely use the combat triangle to your advantage when attacking things. Combat triangle, always attack with the arrows. Don't ever try to avoid attacking against them because it's like a 30% difference. You get a 30% bonus when you're attacking with it, and when you're attacking against it, they get like a 30 to 40% bonus against you. So, okay, return to my station. Oh, as I mentioned earlier, if you ever get a mission that says return to your station, just take a ship out of your station and then move it right back in, and that will complete the mission for you. You don't have to fly your ship all the way back. Oh, now I gotta do something with Klingons. Alright. I know, right? We're all like, ooh, it's a new guy. How you liking the game? Alright, now we're going to meet a data forger out in the middle of nowhere. Alright. Well, that's going to take me about 7 minutes to fly out there, so we're going to go ahead and call this a good time to to put a pin in things for tonight. We'll be back on Thursday night around 7 o'clock Eastern Time for our next stream. Crucible of War should have finished up by then, and we'll be moving on to our next event. It'll probably be Faction Hunt. We'll talk a little bit about that. Maybe we'll have a few more, you know, hints or spoilers may have been released. I'll try and see what I can find out on other discords and things, and we'll talk about those and see where we think the game is going next week. But as I said, again, don't forget to hit the follow button. Follow me on YouTube as well. Subscriptions are always nice if you don't want to watch the YouTube or the ads that Twitch likes to run. And you guys have a great evening, and I will see you around the galaxy.